this video, we will take a deeper look at the Netvio Proxy Commands function. If you wish to use the power on and off or volume controls of Netvio Go with your displays, you will need to use Proxy Commands. Proxy commands are common display controls such as power on and off, volume up, down, and mute. The use of proxy commands enables a single API call to be used for each zone for power on, off, volume up and down, whilst differing the command that is sent to each TX and RX based on the manufacturer in use. The default settings utilize CEC for control and utilize address 40 in the CEC hex data, which is a broadcast command supported widely across many brands. However, it is only recently that HDMI have adopted a true standard for CEC Control. If your panel was made prior to 2018, it can be quite difficult to find the CEC address that is in use on your display. For assistance with this, I can highly recommend a website called CEC-O-Matic, which will help you find different addresses that can be used. I tend to find that starting at 10.0D, 10.36, and then working up to different numbers such as 20, 30, 40, 50, you will find eventually a command that works. You can test each individual command after changing it by pressing the test command arrow here, and you can restore the default command here. All panels successfully work with power on and off control. However, there are many panels that do not accept volume up, down, and mute commands without a CEC negotiation from the device. So I'd highly recommend that you focus on testing power on and off prior to trying to make volume up and down work with your display. Another tip with CEC Control: many displays do not have CEC enabled by default. You will need to go into the settings within your display to enable CEC. Manufacturers do not tend to label their command to turn on CEC as CEC enable. It will be branded. Sony, for example, use Bravia Link, LG Simple Link, and so on and so forth. So please check with the manufacturer of your display what the CEC setting is labeled as in the menu. Finally, it is possible that many displays do not correctly boot with CEC enabled after initially being connected to new devices. Also, if you are changing settings within your device, it is highly recommended to power down the display, not just into standby, but also by powering off the mains and leaving the display for upwards of a minute and rebooting the whole display in order to ensure that CEC properly negotiates. If you are using IR for control, you will need to connect an IR emitter to the output of the RX. We have many brands of IR code pre-configured within our database. Simply enable use predefined IR codes and select your manufacturer from the list. If you do not see your manufacturer in the list, simply select IR from the drop-down list next to the command type and paste your IR code as pronto hex into the hex data, and you can then test the IR command. If you are finding that your codes are not working, please check the location of your emitter on your display. And also, I have found it can be easy to think that the pins have been fully pushed in to the transmit port on your HD-Base-T or AV over IP receiver. However, this is sometimes not the case, and if there is any bare metal on display with the IR connection, it is not pushed all the way in and you will not receive IR codes out from the emitter. Finally, if you are using RS-232 serial commands, We support both serial hex and serial ASCII command data. Please check with the API of your device that you are trying to control which format it needs. You will need to know the command structure in either hex or ASCII format. They don't tend to mix them, it will be one or the other. You'll need to know the command type, and you will need to know any termination commands such as line feeds and carriage returns that need to be entered onto the end. Any hex data is entered as double characters with a space in between each character. No need for any termination characters after each command such as /x. The Netvio software handles that for you. You just need to enter the data in the 2-digit format as shown here. You can then test your command or set your settings back to the default using the Restore Defaults button. And if you wish to change all simultaneously, simply press the Restore Defaults and it will affect all. One last note on using RS-232 proxy commands. The baud rate for these commands is set in the serial settings, the RS-232 port settings in the serial menu up here, where you can change the baud rate for these commands to be issued. So if you are finding the commands are not working after you have entered the proxy commands, please come here where you can change different baud rates. This will be reported again in the API from your manufacturer. For any more assistance, please visit netvio.co.uk and contact the support team.